But if you're lying, I'll find you wherever you try to hide, and I'll maul you with my paws right on the spot.
So you'll give me the batteries in exchange for the ID?
Deal. The ID is now mine. Here are the batteries you asked for.
I'm not going to give this up just like that. Even though I already have my own way of getting into the hospital, I think I can get more mileage out of this ID. It's an ID, and I believe it would be hard to find any other use for it. It's an enormous, wrinkled plastic bag that looks like it wants to escape from the cart's trash can. It has a side zipper that's open. The lining of the bag is damp and sticky. What the hell could they have been keeping inside it? Underground highways? It's one of those plastic bags used to wrap up the patients in their final hours until they finally dissolve. The damp, sticky texture alone sends shivers down my spine. That means it's been used. Why would I want to cover a broken down generator? Too late. Covering it now wouldn't do any good. The water from the tank already damaged the generator. At the moment, I can't think of a single good reason to do that. While it may look like an enormous trash bag, in truth, it isn't one. So I have no intention of putting anything inside and then having to drag it all over the place. Unless dissolution is imminent, there's no point in wrapping these people up in the plastic bag. I think I just got a flash from my former life.
She said they all went there when they lost consciousness.
Before the Great Wave, wasn't there an artist who liked to wrap entire buildings in gigantic sheets of plastic like this one? No, wait. That's such a crazy idea. It must have come from a dream I had. While convalescing in Rod's trailer, it's too big for carrying them. The fish would just disintegrate and disappear in the folds of the bag. This corpse deserves a decent burial, not to be put in a dirty, used plastic bag. Their corpses deserve a decent burial, not to be put in a dirty, used plastic bag. It would be useless to try to fill it with water. The liquid would just leak out through the bag's side zipper. To gather up the remains of any of those poor dissolved, first I'd have to go down to the main hall, something that, for now, I have no intention of doing. That would be too dangerous.
Obviously, I felt great pity for the girl, but in time I also came to feel tremendous fear.
It's true these fish are the closest thing to a dissolved I have on me at the moment. But even so, I'm not going to put them in the plastic bag. It's a slimy, wrinkled bag. I don't think anyone could be interested in it. Unless dissolution is imminent, I don't see any point in wrapping up this person in the plastic bag. I don't think there's any need to put that in the bag. This plastic bag is designed to hold the remains of the dissolved. So I'm not putting that inside there right now. I don't see where I could put this enormous plastic bag. Better not. I'm an intruder in this building, and it's under the Army's control. Going down to the main hall of the hospital would be walking straight into the lion's den, judging by the horrible noise coming from the other side.
I was afraid of that poor, hopeless child.
This door must lead to the vast hall where the dissolved are going through their final agony. As Reverend Blake might say, a stairway down to the very bowels of the underworld. The nurse's silhouette seems to fade in the light of this lamp. I'm afraid that after so many months cooped up in here, Uma is nothing more than a ghost now. Military personnel, GPS, targets, rifles. I'm afraid what's described on these pages doesn't have very much to do with typical medical activities in a hospital. There's a bunch of papers stuck to the door of the closet. There seems to be some type of bureaucratic form among them.
Her visions, her dreams, her messages terrified me.
It's an internal Army memo for the hospital's medical staff. The report talks about the failure to develop a cure for the dissolved, and what's even worse, the decision to finally abandon the search for one. This confirms what Nurse Uma told me. The dissolved are condemned to die. This document constitutes a death sentence for all victims. Why would I do that? Uma already knows everything this report has to say about the dissolved. I'm not going to hand over this report before Rod sees it. I owe him that. It's just a simple written report. How could I use it with that?
Sometimes desperation leads to wishful thinking. You know how it is.
And then one night she sat down next to another patient, an older woman who looked surprisingly healthy.
According to one of the cleanup brigade's forums, this is the device they use to navigate during their raids. Sort of like an electronic map. It looks like some satellites are actually still working after the Great Wave. Something I could easily confirm if this contraption had batteries in it. I'm curious to see how this thing works, but it doesn't have any batteries. Where would I be able to find some in the middle of Doomsday City? Or who could get me some? It's the device the cleanup brigades use to navigate during their raids. Sort of an electronic map. I just have to enter an address, and this screen will show me where it is.